Hi, this is Francis from Easel. Today we're going to be talking about one of the apps in the Easel app library. It's one that we see a lot of use out of, and I just kind of wanted to highlight it and talk a little bit about it so you could kind of get a better understanding of how it works. And so to access that app, what I'm going to do is select the object that I want to use the app on, and then click on Apps. If I scroll down here, we'll see one called Super Gradient Generator. When I click on that, it'll import my object and then show me kind of what's going to be created. And essentially, what the Super Gradient Generator does is it takes your object and slices it into kind of smaller pieces that go from like a 0 point depth all the way down to another depth, basically creating kind of a kind of a slanted effect or more of like a degree effect than can be achieved in Easel regularly. And so basically there are a couple of different options to kind of look at when using the super gradient generator. The type of curve, you can basically a linear curve, which would just kind of move down in a line, or a ease in, ease out, different kinds of ones. So I'm just going to select an ease in, and so it's going to kind of start really slow and then kind of move into getting into a faster kind of depth towards the end. And you can adjust the curve here to make a custom curve. I'm not going to do that in this example. And then you can adjust the depth it starts at. These depths are based on the thickness of your material, so you want to make sure that your material is sized before you kind of input any details. But essentially, we'll reduce my start depth a little bit so it's not going all the way through. And then you can choose the amount of steps. And essentially, the steps are how many different levels are created using the super gradient generator. So if I kick this up to, say, 50, you can see that that shape gets a lot kind of less rigid and a little more kind of layered and a little more fluid because of that. In this case, just for this purpose, I'm going to say 30. And it'll pop back out a little bit. And then the angle at which it goes, you can adjust that. I'm going to keep it at 0 for now. And then the shape type is just, again, the shape you selected. And then the gradient length, 100%. And then when I import that, we can see on the 3D preview that what's happened is I've got a bunch of different kind of small objects, individual kind of small objects, but together they create kind of a curved in effect, or again, if it was an ease out, it would be a curved out effect. And essentially what this allows you to do is take two-dimensional shapes in Easel, break them down into objects that create a curved effect. You're still going to have these steps, but again, the more layers you use, the smaller those steps will be and the easier they will be to sand out. So this is a really great tool if you're trying to create a three-dimensional effect in Easel without using the 3D tool. And it's something that I would recommend everyone play around with just to kind of get a better sense of how it works and how it functions. And that's a little bit more about the super gradient generator. Have a wonderful day.
To learn more, head over to easel.com.